Okay, I think we are live now. We were having some technical difficulties, okay? But forgive me. I just want to say hello to everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. So, hello, hype educators and amazing educators. I am Nikia Hopkins-Sullivan. I am your hype educator. And today we are going to talk about AI in the classroom. We're going to talk about AI in the classroom because that is one of the main topics hitting the streets right now in education. And people are wondering, is it going to help students? Is it going to help teachers? Is it going to hurt them? Like, what's going on? Is it going to replace educators? So I could not have this discussion with other EdTech lovers like myself. So I'm about to bring each person on and we're about to talk about it. So let's bring these fabulous ladies on. Let's go. Let's see. The first person I have is Deidre. Hello. Welcome to the Hype Educator.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening. And next we have Breon. Hi,
Breon. Hello.
And last but not least, we have Brooke. Hi, Brooke.
Hey.
So before we even get into it, I want to introduce these lovely ladies. So first we have Miss Deidre. She is a passionate educator, devoted wife, loving mom, balancing life's many hats with grace and purpose. As a content creator, she shares inspiration, practical tips, and real life moments that empower others to learn, grow, and thrive, both in the classroom, in the crafting community, and at home. So please follow her at D Planner Bay. She has her handle right there under her name. She's fabulous. And then next we have Miss Breon. She is a fifth year elementary teacher, currently pursuing a specialist degree in instructional technology. She's passionate about crafting engaging, positive classrooms. She leverages innovative tech tools to boost academic growth and inspire curiosity and confident leaders. Welcome to the Hype Educator.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Of course. And then last but not least, again, we have Brooke. She is an educator with 18 years of experience. She has taught pre-K through second grade for 14 years and now entering her fourth year as a math coach. And she's a 7-year Vanguard member and current leadership team member. She is passionate about teacher support and student growth. She holds degrees from Savannah State, Armstrong Atlantic, and Thomas University, where she's earned her MED and EDS in teacher leadership. She's a proud wife, mother of 2 girls, and a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Woo! Welcome.
Thank you for having
And
me.
this is wonderful. I thank you all for being here. And first of all, it looks like 2 of you all have grand pianos. This is awesome. Look at the grand piano. I love it. And we all actually serve as Vanguard members at our schools. So that is awesome because it's kind of like we're like EdTech leaders, I guess you could say, within our schools. Yeah. And we help to lead like innovative and, practices with tech tools and teaching our teachers how to use these things and how to use them in the classroom positively for the students. So this is a great conversation for us to have because we want to make sure we put out there like what is the thing called AI? How is it going to play in our classroom? And like, is it going to help education? Is it going to hurt education? Is it going to replace us? So we're about to talk about it, okay? All right, so let's just begin. Let's begin by just even start talking about what is one piece of technology that you have already started practicing in your classroom, and you may have already started to see, or you may not even have a classroom, but you have started to practice in your school, and you've already noticed a change, positive or negatively. Let's go ahead. Who wants to start first?
So with me being an instructional math coach, I use AI for my feedback, for my observations. I typically have at most like 5 in a day. So I definitely streamline it. and use it as my assistant to kind of just do my paperwork part of it. Feedback is very important, especially within the 24 hours, like the 24-hour window after the observation. So, I mean, it knocks it out for me.
I love what you said, the personal assistant,
Mhm.
because I definitely see AI as a personal assistant for me. So I love that. Okay, how about Deatrice? How about for you?
So I would say that AI is a great tool for educators to use, as like she said, as an assistant type of deal, and try to cut out, all the things that they have on their list. It kind of assists them in creating newsletters, responding to parents, parent feedback, um, communicating with others, all types of things. Definitely grading assignments. I'm sure educators. Not myself because I'm only a first grade teacher. I don't think I need AI to grade first grade assignments, but I'm sure when it comes to those higher ed educators, that is a great tool for them to use.
Okay, Breon.
I definitely use AI. It is also an assistant for me. I typically use it for small groups for differentiated instruction. I think it's just the easiest tool to use to kind of go ahead and set it up for you. Just anything that can take off that mental stress from the thousand of to do things that we have on our list. So if we could use AI for just one of those things, it really does make life easier. Now, for my students, we haven't really started to integrate it with them just yet. I am hoping to use it this year. I've seen some things that the county has been bringing in, so I'm excited to use that at my discretion for the students because I'm a little nervous.
And you know what? I like what you said. One thing you said, small group for differentiated. That I love it for that. I've definitely used it for the same thing, even for with me doing ELA. I may need this passage to be at a higher level. I may need to bring it down a few steps, but it's still the same passage. So I've definitely used it for that as well. And it helps me plan sometimes my small group. Now, Dee just mentioned grading. Having over 60 to 70 essays, I have used it like when it's crunch time.
Mhm.
I have used it by putting in that rubric and I would put in the essay. And it's not that I won't still read the essay, but it makes it so much faster. And it helps to give the feedback for the students, to say, you may want to make this part stronger or add in this element. So for a teacher, yes, it has made our lives so much easier. Emails.
Absolutely.
For emails, because
Absolutely.
sometimes you want to watch your tone in the email. I may type up what needs to be said, and I could say, can you now make this more friendly? Or so I have done that as well because I want to make sure that the tone doesn't get misunderstood,
Right.
but at the same
Right.
time, still get the facts,
Mhm.
Now there's one AI tool that I use that I have started using with my students. I haven't done as much either. Next year, I plan to do more, but it's called Short Answer. And Brianna was with me when we were at this conference. It was an EdTech conference, and we met the founder, Short Answer. I'm sorry, Short Answer. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of how Blickett would be before writing. So my students loved it. They would get a chance to write. I can choose a prompt that I want for them, or you could choose a prompt that's already into the system. They get to write, and then at the end, and it would be fun for all grade levels. They get to read each other's essays, and at the very end, it's like who won because they put all the elements that were supposed to be in the writing. So it's really cool, and I like that. So that's one that I have started using
To
with
piggyback
students.
off your essays, I said
Yes.
to piggyback off that to use to make AI useful. I know my daughter does it. My youngest daughter, she does it. She puts a story into AI and have them remix it. So it's still her story, but you have them remix it or turn this into a rap. That just different ways to bring that element, that creativity, because that's what a lot of our kids are lacking is the creativity. But if I'm giving you what I got,
Yes.
now let me see what you can do with it.
But see,
Right.
Brooke, so many people feel like that's going to take away the creativity. I feel like it only enhances. Depending on,
Absolutely.
that's where we have to teach them how to use it. Because if we really think about it, I mean, the world went crazy when we had Google, when we first got Google.
Right.
I
Right.
mean,
Right.
they did. I remember, I
Mhm.
mean, I don't want to date myself that much because I am single most of, but I'm
Okay.
just saying, I remember the what is it called? DSL, the sound of getting on the internet. Like I
Right.
remember
Yeah.
that.
Look.
And
Yeah.
everybody was like, oh my goodness, what's about to happen in this whole thing called Google, even with that. But look how it actually has enhanced what we do in the classroom, just the world in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, I mean, I want to keep talking before I say my opinion, but I don't want the world to be afraid of it because you
Right.
also have to remember we have to educate the kids based off of where we are in the world, right?
Right.
I
Mm-hmm.
was at Wendy's ordering the other day. It was a new Wendy's I never been to, and literally it was not a person
AI.
talking to me.
Yep.
It was AI.
Yep.
I
It's
said, "What?"
definitely different.
That happened yesterday, and I said, "Now, if this is happening in our everyday lives, then we have to incorporate it into the classroom. We
So,
have to
question.
because we're
And
preparing
I
them
think
for
it's
their."
important to piggyback off of that. Even when you went back to emails and things of that nature, we are not perfect.
Yep.
And not saying AI is perfect because AI definitely will mess up as well. But I just think sometimes that, we just need a piece, like just give me a start. Even when it comes to the remixing and things, just give me a start, and then I'm like, oh, I like that. Now I can take what they gave me, that little piece of information they gave me, and I can continue on with my day, or I can kind of incorporate it into my vocabulary, or maybe what I do for the students. I just think of it literally as another tool, just like the dictionary, all these things. That's a tool. You may not know how to spell a word, but when you go into the dictionary, now you might know how to spell the word and you know the meaning. So I just think of it as just another plus. It's an enhancement.
So I
So,
got,
do you
I got
think it's more about us making sure, just like we had to do with anything else, teaching the students, when we talk about the students, teaching
Mm-hmm.
them how to use it responsibly and ethically,
I think both. I think the teachers and the
Mhm.
students need to learn how to use it
Absolutely.
responsibly.
Yeah.
I said,
Yep. I agree.
so that will take place in PDs. Us as
Oop,
Vanguard,
thunder.
we do. Um, sorry, are we
It's
as
thunder
for
and the
Vanguard?
lightning.
No, that was
We
lightning. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It made me scared.
I know we're not supposed to be on the computers when it's raining outside. That's dated. We dated. But
Right.
to what were we saying?
No, we were
Yes,
talking
this
about
is
using
right.
it responsibly. Okay, wait, using it
Yes.
responsibly.
So it definitely has to be done within PDs for adults.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was saying about us as Vanguard members, we have that impact plan that we have to do. As
Right.
a part of the
Yes.
impact plan, that can be introducing them to AI and how to use AI to write your stories, your essays. Um, um, Brian, just like last names. We um, your vocabulary, your vocabulary portion that you just mentioned. I was reading a book, and actually, I have it. We got it. I think me and Dee went to a conference last year. It's AI for Educators, and
Mm.
they have a vocabulary section that the kids put their essay in and just say, expand my vocabulary.
Right.
And it will change certain words and also teach the students about those words in
But
Yeah, I
I
vocabulary.
like
do
that.
think it's important before we allow students to use AI. I'm really big on digital literacy. Students need to
Mhm.
know what's going on with the device.
Right.
I think it's, you're using AI, but do you know how to use Word? Because that's just as important. Do you know how to send an email? So I
Yeah.
think, and maybe we'll talk about it, later on, but I think there should be a certain time when AI is introduced, before it becomes their lives. Because if we go ahead and introduce it to them and they have no idea what's going on with just any type of safety, any of that,
Mm-hmm.
then AI is definitely going to be taken out of context. So that's why I kind of go back and forth with AI in elementary school. It's a great tool, but I know we still spend time on teaching them how to use PowerPoint, and that's something very basic, that they still
Oh no, we lost
So I'm sure
Freon. Okay, I'm sure she'll come back. I know she was charging her device earlier, so she'll,
Mhm.
or it could be the thunder. But I'm agreeing with what she said. I'll take her out until she comes back in. Digital literacy is important
Oh yeah.
because I know with me having fifth graders, I'm a lot of times going back, showing them, when they say I needed to email you this or I needed to share a document with you, even just learning how to find the ampersand sign, just little things, PowerPoint, as she said. So, I try to incorporate those things in my class. Like if we're doing anchor charts, I'm like, hey, let's pull out Canva. Let's do
Mhm.
this, so that they're using those tools more and getting
Right.
more accustomed with them.
Mhm.
But to do that, we need to make sure that the educators feel comfortable with
I also
that so
think
that they can incorporate that in the classroom.
also digital learning anchor charts.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes,
I mean,
that's what I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Canva, the kid, how I don't remember how to get to it. What do I do? So that'd be a
Yes.
good
Mhm.
initiative.
And
Okay.
I like how you said that we need to kind of try to get the other educators to buy in. Us Vanguard members, that's part of our, initiative as Vanguard members of the county itself, right?
Yes.
And so I feel like a lot of educators in my years in Vanguard, they are, I wouldn't say afraid, but I think they're more hesitant to try new things because they don't want to go away from what they call traditional learning, which in this 2025, we are all moving to a whole brand new level.
Yes, we
And
are.
I think a lot of times when we're introducing new things, and I was thinking a lot more of, within the last couple months, and being in this position for this long, it probably should have come to me longer. I mean, a long time ago. I find it easier for me to introduce a new tech tool to a teacher if I go to them one on one, as
Right.
opposed to a full setting because they're like, one, they're
Yeah.
hearing other people's opinions and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
You
yeah,
not
that
do it
doesn't
in the conference meeting.
right.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to
Yes.
them one on one, then I can kind of sell it to them. And I wouldn't even say sell it to them because I shouldn't have to sell it to them,
But
but
it is. It's a buy-in.
I can give them the pros and cons, and I can give them, an easier way to introduce it to their kids. Even being a first grade teacher, I've been able to help my teammates to introduce to tech tools that they probably would have never even thought of introducing it to 5 and 6 year olds
Yes.
because just putting it at a smaller level. This is what we're going to do today. This is what we're going to try next week. And then if they get this part, let's try this part. And so it just takes a different approach when it comes to introducing these new tech tools. And AI is a big thing now, and the more seasoned teachers are the ones that are more apprehensive when it
They
comes to
are.
brand new things.
So this is where I guess we're blessed that in our district, that we have Vanguard. So the
Mhm.
schools that don't have it, I guess I could just say I employ for teachers who, the ones or educators, anybody within that building who understands AI, they use the tools. They need to take charge and kind of make sure that they're teaching these tools, teaching
Mhm.
teachers so that teachers are not afraid to use it, showing the students. Because for one, as an educator, once you start using those tools, you'll never go back. It helps so much
We
for
Yeah.
can we
educators.
talk about
Absolutely.
I wouldn't call it um abusing AI,
Mm.
but there may be some people
That's the
that
problem. Yes.
Mm.
some educators. I'm not calling anybody
Mhm.
out. I'm just saying there's a lot.
Say
Please
their
don't.
name.
Please don't do that.
Get it? We use the AI to write our lesson plans, but are we going back and internalizing those lesson plans, or are we just going to teach from the paper that you printed out from AI?
Right, because it may not really truly match the standard or what you've
Yep.
been teaching. You still, just an assistant. It's not
Mhm.
supposed to do it all for you.
And
You
AI
know,
does not know everything.
no.
From my understanding, it only goes back so far.
Mm.
And I don't know if it's still currently up to date, but I just think that comes with anything. There's some people who are always going to abuse it and kind of go overboard. Some people are going to feel like it's too uncomfortable for them, so they're not going to use it. And
Mhm.
you're going to have the people who are just willing to try. And I think it's little things with AI. maybe that they could use. It's not necessarily like just using it for an email, or a class dojo post or something. That is something so small and easy that, you could just write a message, a Merry Christmas message. I don't know. And it kind of does it for you. And you can kind of add in your own personal touch. But I think it's not something that's supposed to take over your whole job, I should say. It shouldn't be teaching the kids.
Because then you won't be a great you won't be a hype educator if you do that. Okay. And look, like, okay, Sabrina Everett says it's a paradigm shift of comfort. What do you all think? I agree with that.
Yep.
I love it.
Yes.
So that's my mother-in-law. She was a former superintendent for Thomasville City Schools.
Okay.
First Black woman superintendent. So
yes.
So yeah, she's definitely right. Definitely right. It's you have to get out your comfort zone. You just
yes. Totally agree. And then Christopher Sullivan, my husband, said, "Great information, educators." Yes. All right, guys. So let's move on to another part. How is technology affecting students' attention spans, creativity, and critical thinking? We kind of touched on it a little bit. Now we know how attention spans. What do you think?
It's too much.
But I think if, as a first grade teacher, I think it just goes back to even using AI. Technology can only be used at a certain point. And I think as an educator, you gotta mix it up a little bit. You can't just rely on just technology all day, every day. I mean, that's not gonna work. But you also cannot sit there and kill and drill all day, every day either. So I think it becomes it needs to be a happy balance. You need to have a happy balance. Yes.
I like that you just highlighted. I think we have to be careful with students with learning deficits. We can also use AI to help with those learning deficits. I know they have the text to speech.
Yeah.
Yes,
Those,
it does.
Those they have stuff for dyslexia. So I think it does help them, but we also need to pull some tricks out of our personal bags that we have,
so they don't become dependent on it. And
right.
Right. That's he was on our show last week. This is Mr. E. Yes.
It just with the attention span of a student, you have to think about already. We use for iReady or some form of assessment. They sit on iReady for that. I know at Cliftondale we were doing math fluency online. So it's like you have to change it. With AI, you have to flip it and use it in a more creative way.
Yes. Right? And you have to find that balance, because I personally don't think that we should take all the traditional way out of school out of the picture. We don't need to do that, because as much as we love technology, we do know that Wi-Fi can go out at any moment. We've seen that happen. Just different things can take place. Okay. And we still want to go back to opening that book, the paper and pencil. We still want to do those things. It's balance. But we do know that we have 21st century students, and we need to be gearing them for this, because if we really are saying that we're gearing them for college and beyond in these jobs, this is what they're going to see.
It's a STEM world.
This is their world, right? And we're
just STEM. It's always technology. It's always in any and everything you do. It is a STEM world. But I also think it's important I think there's a difference between AI and then school AI. I think they are developing AI that is strictly for school purposes, that kind of limit things for students and teachers as well. Just some of the things that I've seen that they're able to help with, like I think IEPs and BIPs and things like that. Like some of those things go so much in detail, but they're still able to put in their information and kind of just lays out the structure for them. And same for students. I think there's certain AI that they could use that's strictly for school, that kind of gives them something, but not too much. Like they still have to use critical thinking. They still may have to ask their teacher or something of that nature, but it won't give them just everything.
Right.
What about plagiarism using AI? How do y'all feel about that?
Okay, so I'm still in school, and they actually said that they do not want us to use Grammarly.
And see, that used to be a
They
norm
think
that everybody.
Grammarly is a form of AI. And when I thought about it, I was like, well, kinda. Actually, it might be.
Yeah.
Now I know
Is
with
it?
instructional, I think it kind of might be. I don't know.
I don't
So
feel like that is.
I can see where they kind of get it from.
because
Um,
now, like Turnitin, Grammarly, they cannot they cannot detect AI, the use of AI, because it's not pulling from a source. So like when you cutting and pasting and putting it in a document, you would use Turnitin or Grammarly for that. AI is now it's it's not a human brain, it's a of course a computer brain. It's generating itself, so technically it's not
Mm.
plagiarism because AI wrote it. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Okay.
I get what you're saying. But I do think, like, for example, I go to the University of West Georgia. They don't mind if we use AI some classes because, of course, it's instructional technology. We're supposed to explore, but you have to cite it. So if
Mhm.
you're using something from ChatGPT, that needs to be a reference on there. You need to cite that. You
You cite
can't
that.
say,
It
yeah,
has
you can cite it. You can. And it will just kind of pull it. I don't know if it actually shows you the source, but
Mhm.
it will say you can make a citation that says you got that information from AI.
No, I'm just curious because we used to use what the MLA or whatever.
Yes.
MLA,
Yes.
APA.
Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
gonna have to look that up. How does that look?
Right. How would you cite that? Okay.
Mhm.
That's something. Okay. So with us, and this will kind of go into another part of it where we talked about the ethical concerns. How can we teach our students to use this responsibly? How can we even just make sure that it's accessible to all students? Because if we're teaching this, we need to make sure it's accessible to all students, but also make sure that we help protect any ethical concerns. What would you do in your classroom? Like I know I'm gonna go back and say I know with my kids, I was actually about to get on one because I saw them put in their essay into AI, right? You
Mhm.
know, the ELA teacher. I'm like, oh, what are you doing? We got to write this. They said, no, our teacher told us this is how we're going to check it, almost like their personal assistant. We don't change
Mhm.
anything per se. We're not changing what we wrote, but we just want to see like what type of grade will we get? Did we have a strong? It's something. I think she gave them a prompt to use. So it's like, is this a
Your
strong?
rubric.
Yeah, the rubric, because I know that's what I put in when I grade. And it reminds me a lot, Brianna, of what we looked at, because now our school has on our platform a form of AI that we could use. And
Mhm.
it's where you could put parameters on like what the students can do with the AI. You get what I'm saying? So like, what was it like? What did we put in there?
I think that it was a narrative piece, but they had to upload a paragraph or their essay first before they could even help them with anything.
On writing. Uh-huh.
Um, and I think it just went and it told them it said it's a sidekick, and you can kind of put in the parameters of what you want it to do and what it can't do and what the students have to do first. So I think that's a good tool for them to use as a checker, just like a checklist or anything like
Your
that.
evaluation.
But I
Like
think
your
it
evaluation.
goes back to the digital literacy. You know, they need to know misinformation. They need to know time management. They need to know that Wikipedia is not a source. Like you can't use that. So it's like if they have to know how to manage just internet and
We have to teach that
technology.
to them.
Right.
Yeah. Because we had to do that from the beginning, right? When Google came out, we had to, that was something that we had to learn. I mean,
Mhm.
even when, look, I'm going way back, being silly. Even when the pen came out, we had to tell people you can't write answers on your hand, right? So,
Right.
so I mean, I guess this all kind of, we have to teach them how this is to be used. Yes, it's going to take some monitoring, on our part at the beginning, because you have to set this is how our classroom structure is. This is what the expectations are. I mean, but as long as it's used as an enhancement, I think it would be fine for teachers and students. I like that you said that, bro. That we have to make sure
Mhm.
teachers as well. Please don't use that as this is going to do my entire lesson plan without
Not
checking and making sure.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. You know your stuff.
So to end this out, everyone, are we preparing students for a future where AI is a coworker or a competitor?
Mm.
I think it's both. I
Okay,
think those
explain.
I think those seasoned teachers will think of it as a competitor.
Mm.
For
Like
sure. For
you
sure.
fighting for your job versus a computer. Like
Mhm.
they that's a competitor. But like to I wouldn't say I'm seasoned because I'm 8 years. close to retirement. I've counted down my years, but it's a lot of us that we can use it. That's my coworker. That's my coworker. Her name is Molly. If you did you know you
You named her?
you can
Cute.
name it. You can ask ChatGPT, what would you like your name to be? Ask it that. You could yes. Sis got a whole name. Write this email for me.
I like that. I like that. I'm gonna give
I
mine
need
a
a
name
name.
too.
I need to get a name.
You gotta ask it.
And I think
I can
as
give her a name.
wait,
You
you
have
say you said you didn't give her a name?
no. She gave me her name. Ask
Oh,
Chat.
okay.
What would you like me to call you?
I'm about to do this right now. Hold on. I'm gonna
Me
tell you my
too.
name.
I'm very
I have it
curious.
pulled up. Hold
Is
on.
that right?
That
Hold
was
on.
so rude of me not to ask their name.
Just give me
I was
some.
gonna say it's as educators, we actually have the upper hand of making sure that the kids that we influence every day understand that it can be both. And it's
Mhm.
not it's not the competitor, it's not the one that's gonna take over your future. You have to be in the playing field as well. You use this platform to get you where you want to go. So I think we as educators have the upper hand of influencing. As they say, we should be the most paid profession because we are the influencers of everybody who are to come.
That
We
keeps going.
build
Yes,
doctors, we build lawyers, we build
all of the
teachers,
above.
and we build all
Mhm.
these things. So we have the upper hand of creating that mindset for the students that we impact.
And I like that you said that. And it teaches them create something better. Somebody created AI.
There you
So
go.
what else can you create to make life easier? You know,
Yeah.
what else can you do? This is just the beginning. I didn't think this was possible, what, 5 years ago? I don't know how current AI is actually, but and how long it's been around, but somebody created this. This is something that just popped up out
Hmm.
of
About
nowhere.
2 years ago is when it first, I don't know how long it's actually been out, but 2 years ago when I was reading articles is when it kind of like first started making its way into mainstream, I guess you could
Hmm.
say.
Yeah,
You
Hmm.
it's
know,
been about 2 years. Me and D went to a conference,
Yeah.
VanCon last year, where we met Matt Miller, the author of AI for Educators.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, it's been about. I mean, we all go to our tech conference in November.
Yes. Mhm.
AI's been here.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yes, and it's popular.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great perspective, Fat, and show educators the money. Yes, show us the money. Well, AI
Right.
told me, I said, what should I call you? They said they gave me two names. Coach G, I guess for Chat GPT, or
Mhm.
Teach Mate.
But
Okay.
going off of your hype educator because of the
That's what it
algorithm,
is.
right?
Mhm.
That's what it is.
Mhm.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Well,
Mm.
Oh, wait a minute.
they might be nicer to you.
Have another one. How young is too young for students to start using AI?
Ooh.
I I mean,
Mm.
so my child, my 10-year-old, she's a complete introvert. She has like okay, I don't remember her name of her little chat GTP, but they have a name. They have conversation. Well, not conversation, but like she asks it a question. Like, and then it gives it a response back. Okay, well, I need some characters for a story. Can you help me with these characters for my story? So it innocently used asking questions. I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't either. I think just like we have little kids on iPads learning different. Why aren't we teaching them the basics of using AI for what they're learning in the classroom at that moment? Keep it standard based, and what they're learning at that moment. I think as soon as they learn how to type in words and they can spell it out.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was thinking, maybe like first grade. I think lower than that, they need to kind of develop themselves first.
Well, they're starting to use the microphone anyway, so they're not texting, they're not inputting anything. They are using the microphone. Because I hear her when her history teacher assigns something. Can you tell me about the French Revolution?
And I think it goes with their creativity too. Why don't you just have a first grader that says a monkey on the moon with the red shirt? AI can make that. Let's see. I like your vision. Let's see if AI can do something with it, just to show their creativity. I think it really just depends on the child and what they can, bring in, and what do they understand, because that may be something that they may love technology in kindergarten and obsessed with it and want to
you never know how that could take them, like how you said, somebody's going to be able to build from what we're seeing now. We think this is a phenomenon. They'll take this to another level. And you're right, it starts early. When you're introducing this stuff to them, you never know whose interest. I just thought about something you said, Brooke. You said how your youngest, how she'll talk, to AI and have the conversation. It just gave me one of those moments, because now I'm thinking about like argumentative essays, and I'm thinking about like if you pose your section into AI and then you like have a conversation where you're seeing the counter argument in the opposing side, or like debates.
Think pair share. Think pair share when you're in your mixed lesson.
Yes, absolutely.
Partner A, partner B can have the conversation. Okay, let's see what our partner C, ChatGPT, can help us come up with.
And don't laugh. I'm thinking of this. And maybe for the student who doesn't do well working in groups.
Right.
Now you're working.
Absolutely.
He's working with somebody.
Right. So you're still doing the work. You just may not work well in groups, but we still need you to do the work, right?
Yeah.
This is great.
I just think as long as the parents are teaching the kids to use it responsibly.
Absolutely.
So it goes beyond what we're doing in the classroom, you're saying, as far as that. The parents at home, which means parents also, which I believe they're understanding AI for the most part, but we need to make sure that, how we said, teachers, we need parents to also understand AI so they can also work on those tools at home.
That might need to be a disclaimer now, honestly. Maybe 4th, 5th grade, making that something that the parents need to be aware about. You can't show your child how to use AI and don't think they might use it on their homework, because now AI will list out, for me, I know it will list out a math problem and give them different strategies, pictures and all, and everything else. And they copy it down, and we're thinking that the child knows exactly what they're doing until they can't rely on AI. Just because you showed your child one thing.
In the article I was reading, they said, okay, if the child asks AI how to do number 1, it's just like back in the day we used to use our textbooks and they used to have the answers in. I don't know. You might be a little young for this. But they used to have the answers in the back to check the work.
Yes.
You can tell them 2, 4, and 6. Like, and show your work. Have I do number 1 for you. Great. Showed you the strategy. Now you do 2, 4, and 6. The odds and even, something like that. So I mean,
it's the same for using Google or Alexa. You don't know how to do number 4, so you ask. Oh no, Alexa. You ask. You ask. Sorry, I heard it. But you ask. Google, what is 100 subtracted by 7? I don't know. Whatever the thing might be, you can easily put it into Google and get the same thing that you would as if it was AI.
As a teacher,
exactly.
You checking it will be, explain how you got your answer. Yeah, you hold all this nice, good stuff down on this paper, but explain your answer. So
that's where the teaching comes in.
Yep.
That's where we get our ding. Yep.
Something's not right.
Yep.
I love it. Okay, so I guess at the end of the day, because I posed a question when I said, is AI hurting our students, hurting the teachers, or will it replace us? So we're saying the answer is no.
No.
Correct? Or is that what we agree on? We
You can't
just need
replace
to
me.
make sure.
You can't. Absolutely not. I'm too funny. Like I'm a great teacher. You
I
can
know,
never
right?
replace me.
Right.
I agree. I'm a hype educator.
You
Sing,
have the same
dance.
personality.
I do it all. I have the best raps, the best jokes. AI can't do that. They're stealing from
AI
me.
Yeah.
cannot. They cannot.
They won't
Seriously.
show.
So teachers would
Yeah.
never be replaced.
No.
This is literally just a tool
Mhm.
to help enhance the creativity, the flyer I did for this show. I went to AI and said, give me some ideas.
Mhm.
And I
Okay.
looked at that and said, okay, and created my own in Canva.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So it was to help me because I was in a crunch for time. I said, I need some help. Let me see what they gave me 3 versions. And I said, oh, this is kind of cool.
You may be able to use the other 2 versions for another podcast.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. But I still had to do the work though. I still had to go in Canva. I still had to find the right graphics, place them where they needed to be placed, all of that, change the wording some. So it didn't take away from my creativity as well, but it was
It
a
enhanced.
think partner.
Mhm.
Enhanced.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Was it Coach
So,
G? Coach G helped you out.
Coach G hooked it up.
It enhances the learning experience.
Yeah.
Yes,
Definitely.
and that's how we're going to end it, Breon. I like that. So AI enhances the learning experience. So we're just going to ask for educators and everybody, get used to it. It's here
not
to stay.
It's
Yeah.
not.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
Jump on board.
Oh my! Well, ladies, thank you so much. I just heard some thunder rolling again.
Uh-oh.
So we're going to go ahead and leave. This was a great conversation. It was very much needed. So, hopefully people will come in, they'll see this, they'll click on it later and see this is nothing to be scared of. Okay.
Right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you
And
for
maybe we
having
can do this
me.
Thank
again.
you.
All right. Bye.
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 All right. So everybody, please don't forget to subscribe. Please, please, please don't forget to subscribe to the Hype Educator. And we want to have more discussions like this. And we need you. We need more subscribers. Go ahead and put your comments in there because we want to spread the news of education. All things education, okay? EdTech, literacy, math, everything education. It was so fun being with you all today. Stay hyped, stay blessed. Until next time, bye.